So how are you all doing? I'm about to practice my presentation that I'm going to be giving at Deal Maker 2020, sponsored by Jim Ingersoll. He invited me out, asked me to talk about our second phase of buy and hold, which on our book we call going from 8 to 80. So he asked if I wouldn't mind putting together a presentation. So I have done that. Now I've been working on it probably a dozen hours, maybe. So I thought I'd practice it here. I will obviously give it to the folks in Virginia first. But given I am recording this Thursday evening, I'm going to probably make this post probably about noon on Saturday. So it'll be about 3 o'clock Eastern, and I would have already given it by then. So if you happen to be watching this for the first time, thank you very much. If you happen to watch this live and come back to this to see it again, welcome back. See how I did. Again, so let me bring this up and let's have some fun together. And again, this is a dry run, so it might be a little rough, but let's see. All right, let's get it all set up like we're presenting this. Okay, so again, hello everyone. Michael Zuber here from One Rental at a Time. Jim was gracious enough to invite me back for the second year. Last year, we talked about, how to get your first 4 homes, right? Really that first stage of being a buy and hold investor. He thought it'd be a great idea to sort of build on that and talk about what it takes to go to the second stage. And in our book, One Rental at a Time, it's where we went from 8 single family homes to 80 units in small apartment buildings. So I created a presentation and we're going to walk through it. I'm hoping it's about 45 minutes or so, which should give all of us 15 or 20 minutes to ask some questions. But I used to, present for a living. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. I promise you the worst thing I will say is that's covered in a later slide. So let's just have some fun and see how this goes. So again, Michael Zuber, I did write a book called One Rental at a Time. It was featured by Forbes Real Estate Group as one of the top 15 books, number 3 actually, not that I'm counting, for something that you should read before starting real estate investing. Was really happy to be honored with that. Got a number 1 new release on Amazon when it came out about a year ago, and we've sold several thousand copies, which is really good for a self-published real estate book. It's really our journey from one house to financial freedom over 15 years, which if you're doing the math means I'm old, but also more importantly, it means that we rode the wave up, survived the crash, and came back in the recovery. So pretty entertaining read. It's a quick read, several hours. It's about 170 pages or so. So if you've read it, I'm going to ask for a favor. If you've read this book, I'm going to ask you to go back to Amazon today and leave a 5-star review. As a self-published author, I need those reviews to show up better in their algorithm. So do me this favor. If you read this book, please go to Amazon today and write a 5-star review, even if it just says great book. That would be enough to help me out. And if you haven't read it and you're looking for a story about somebody who's done it, I'm told it's a very good book. There's over 100 5-star reviews there, so check them out. I do put out a lot of content and a lot of daily content. If you want to follow me, pretty much everything I do is at One Rental at a Time. I put out daily content on YouTube. It's actually where you're going to find this presentation. I actually recorded it Thursday as a practice, so you will all get it, I think today at about 3 o'clock Eastern. So you should, if you want to go see it again, it will be there for you, at least in draft form. I also put out stuff on Instagram, again, One Rental at a Time. It's often just a quote. I have a team that helps me put those together, takes little Mike Zuber quotes from my videos and calls them out, which is a lot of fun. Also, my YouTube videos turn into a podcast, almost 100,000 views or downloads or whatever you call them. And, just having a good time putting out free content. So follow me there. So just to be clear, I think there are 3 stages an investor goes through. And again, they're documented in the book. Stage 1 is just getting started. It was really the key of last year's presentation. getting started, learning your market, understanding the ups and downs of being a small-time landlord, and realize it does take time. It takes you 5 to 8 years to get out of stage one. Stage two, it's the topic of this presentation, so we'll just move on because it gets the lion's share of the material. Stage three, this is where you have reached financial freedom. You have gotten to the top of the mountain. You now have some options, and these are the things to consider. Do you juggle debt, right? Do you refi some higher to pay off others? What do you do? Do you start creating piles of assets, some free and clear, some highly leveraged? Do you just enjoy life and be happy with what you have? Or do you maybe grow bigger, right? Growing bigger seems to be on everybody's minds these days. It's not something I am particularly fond of doing. I am happy where I'm at, and giving back is a lot more fun than adding another rental home at this point. So those are the three stages. So just in case you don't know who we are or a little bit about us, we are busy professionals. And when I say we, it's my wife and I. We were burned out stock market investors in 2000. After having several good years and making significant money, we lost it all and then some. We were spending every penny we made. We were just dumb. It's probably not uncommon. Lots of us live paycheck to paycheck, and we were no less in that situation back in the early 2000s. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the book that fundamentally changed our future. It sort of woke us up that we were in a rat race, didn't really put that together before. And just that realization that, you know what, you're on a hamster wheel and you're just running faster and faster shook me to my core. And I knew I didn't want to do that forever. The one problem with Rich Dad, Poor Dad is it doesn't tell you how to do anything. It doesn't give you a roadmap. It's actually why I wrote One Rental at a Time, because I wanted to document the ups and downs of a 15-year journey. So if you're wondering how someone actually does it, you got to go to Amazon and buy the book One Rental at a Time. It was written to be that complement to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? It's something I wish I had back then. It would have saved me a bunch. Probably like some of you in here, I actually live in a ridiculously expensive part of the world, let alone the country. Just call it the Bay Area of California, right? Silicon Valley. I tried to do it. I tried to be a landlord in the Bay Area. It just didn't work. Nothing fit my model. I'm an accountant by training. So none of my spreadsheets could make negative cash flow look good. So, it's just too expensive. We did ultimately find a market 2.5 hours away, Fresno, California. It's where we started, where we've been. We've never left. We did evaluate other markets during the peak in 2008, but that's for a different conversation. We knew no one. We had never been to Fresno. No one in our family ever owned rentals, so we were not starting from a good place. We were naive. And as it turns out, our first rental experience is horrible. Again, I've talked about it a lot. There's actually videos on my YouTube channel talking about it, but let's just say we did everything right and it didn't work. And we ended up losing 6 months of rent, 5 months of rent, and another $15,000 in damage and lawyer fees and stuff. And frankly, that could have been the end of us. I'm still amazed that we kept going after that horrible experience, but we did. The thing that saved us is every time I say we, my wife and I, we were 100% bought in together. 100%. If we were 99% in, that first experience would have crushed us. We would have sold the house at a loss and we would still be working. So quick review of phase one, because not everybody saw phase one last year. I do believe the first thing you have to do is learn your market before you invest a single dollar in acquisitions. I think buying something before you know your market is gambling, and I am not a gambler. You must be able to answer this question. What is a bad, average, good, or great deal in your market? That's it. That's the only question that matters. And then once you've built the foundation and you understand that, your job is to only do good or great deals. Here's the rub. 99% of the stuff on the market is bad or average. Just the reality. That's why it's hard. The other thing, just to be clear, is we bought 99% of our stuff out of the MLS or Realtor.com or Redfin. We had no access, no systems, no marketing, nothing. The 1% that you see there is we did buy one directly from a bank during the crash, and we actually did buy one on auction.com a decade ago during the crash. Other than that, multiple listing service is where we got all our deals. So the people that say you can't retire by buying deals in the multiple listing service, sorry, I'm a proof point that you absolutely can. Again, no systems, no direct marketing, no network, nothing. The thing that I knew how to do is I knew how to compare deals. It's something I talk about and teach a lot. Is I don't think you should overcomplicate it. I think you should be able to compare a house with an apartment building. I don't see why people get away with calling cap rates and stuff in apartments, and then we talk about gross rent multiplier or something else in houses. It's like they're trying to confuse us. I don't stand for that. I simply want to know how hard my money is working, and I don't care if it's working in an apartment or a house. Whatever gives me the highest return, and I call that yield, and that's what I teach. We knew what part of town to avoid. A lot of people get into this business, they get out of state, and they start just getting attracted to a higher yield. You are unfortunately going to be crushed when this turns, because there are some parts of town, it doesn't matter. There are still some parts of Fresno that I wouldn't take a house for free, right? It's just a problem that I do not want to add to my life. It's just not worth it, right? If your Excel spreadsheet says 15 and you're in a 6 market, you might want to ask yourself why. You have to wear a bulletproof vest to collect rent, or what's going on? And something that's very important to us, and I said we've always been on this together, is Olivia always had a veto rule. She could veto any deal. Doesn't matter how much time we put into it or how long it took me to find it. If she was uncomfortable, she could veto the deal. And believe me, she vetoed several of them. It took us 7 years to get out of phase 1. So I don't want you to think we did this faster than anyone else. Phase 1 takes time. It just absolutely does. It takes time. So, okay. So what about this phase 2, this exciting 8 to 80? Tell me about that. Well, really the key to 8 to 80 is you're reusing capital that was deployed in phase 1. You're using appreciation and mortgage paydown that came from phase 1. You could do a cash out refi. That's one example of how to use or how to start phase 2. What we used exclusively in our phase 2 was the massive helping of 1031 exchanges. And in an upcoming slide, I detail how we went from 8 to 80 in just a minute. Obviously, market cycles are huge. We were investing in an appreciating market. This at the time, we didn't know it, but it took our single family homes to a crazy level. And we did our exchanges and moved our equity from houses to apartments. The houses ended up crashing. Everybody who bought them lost them. But we were safe in apartments. Here's the deal. Sometimes in some markets, people simply want to overpay. And when they do, I sell. Really, I exchange. I don't like paying taxes. And we move our equity around. For us, our original phase 2 was going from house to small apartments. Today, I've been very clear. I'm actually selling apartments and buying houses because I think apartments are overpriced. So how do you know when phase 1 ends? Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, and I'm going to say this a few times in the presentation, I believe. Phase 1 does not have to end if you do not want it to. I believe getting to 4 or 8 single family rentals and staying there is awesome. And if that's all you ever want to do, I want to stand here and applaud you. That is tremendous. You do not have to go from 8 to 80. You do not have to. Don't let anybody tell you you have to. There's nothing wrong with staying in phase 1. Keys to think about is your current equity position. What other options do you have? Right? Are you sitting on a lot of equity that you think is prices run up that you want to move around and save? hence exchange. It's what we did. Is there an opportunity cost of holding versus leveraging past equity? Can you go bigger? Houses become apartments? If the numbers work, of course. So this is the math for us. The ones on the left is what we sold. So we had 6 houses and a duplex. That's how we had 8 units. So those 8 units produced about 8,500 gross. This is gross. So we sold that first house, got a 5-plex. We sold the second house, got 13. Sold a duplex, got 18. Sold a house, you see the list. So we took our gross from 8,500 to 5,200 or 52,000, excuse me. Oh, 5,200, $52,000. That's gross, obviously, not net. But let's just say net went up substantially. And that was a big deal for us. Going from 8 to 80 was game changing for us. But I want you to understand something. Again, getting to 4 to 8 single family homes is outstanding. I believe it fundamentally changes your life for the better. If you get 4 to 8 single family homes, you win. You do not have to go to phase 2. Bigger is not always better. See my thoughts on multifamily today. I post them all the time on my YouTube channel. I just think they're overpriced. They were not overpriced in 08, but they were overpriced in 2020. Please do not believe Grant Cardone and everybody else on social media pushing apartments, syndications. I promise you, as we are about to talk about, it is not all rainbows and unicorns. Again, you win just getting 4 to 8 single family homes. You don't have to go any further. Here are some surprises going to 80 units. And again, we were naive. Turnover increases. My average turnover in my homes is 5 years plus. My average turnover in apartments today is 2 years. A decade ago, it was just over a year. Expenses increase dramatically. I have not been able to run an apartment building on less than 40% expenses. I have many, many, many houses operating on less than 20% expenses. Drama. Tenant drama increases by 10x. You have all these people living in such close proximity. Music, parking, yelling, cooking, drinking. It goes on and on and on and on. Rent increases are more uncommon. They're usually smaller but more frequent, so that's good. Cash flow or spending income can increase significantly, right? It doesn't increase by the same ratio, but it does increase. Our, transition keyed our growth, but it was not without challenges. And I truly believe this is not for everyone. Single family homes are much easier to manage for full-time employees. When we had those 8 units, we maybe had 2 phone calls a month. When we had 80 units, there were many days we had 5 phone calls a day. Again, just talking with our property manager. We never talked to tenants. It's just more and more drama. We would never recommend anyone self-manage apartments. It drives me insane. I couldn't imagine doing that. I guess I could imagine homes because they're less hands-on, but apartments, no thank you. Before starting phase 2, consider, you must have some things in place. You must have processes and procedures for evictions, expenses, approvals, tenant selection. You can't just run out and buy apartments and not have these things in place. It'll kill you. You must increase reserves. Tenant turnover is much faster. Effective occupancy is lower. When things break, they're often more expensive. It's just more. They're also much harder to maintain in bad economies. What a lot of people today are not telling you, because it's a good economy, is when the economy was bad in 10, 11, 12, my apartments were rough. Yes, they may have been occupied, but they were not occupied all by paying tenants. Lots of people were in evictions and payment plans and just all kinds of stuff. It was not a good time to own apartments. High occupancy does not mean high effective occupancy. The difference is effective occupancy means how many people are paying consistently. You may have an 18-unit building that's full, but only 12 paying tenants. Not good. That's going to be a negative month. And that'll probably be a negative several months, as you have six to evict, 6 turnovers, 6 re-rents, and just can be exhausting. With single family homes, we never really had a bad month. We had a couple of things break, but it was never bad enough that we needed to really dip into reserves. When apartment stuff breaks, it's going to be bad, right? When a roof leaks on a big building, or the big heaters go out, or whatever it is, it's really expensive. Something I've learned is when people throw around the term value add, I have a value add property. All I am hearing is, oh my God, I am going to have to spend tons of money over and over and over again. Because sure, it's easy to model out in Excel tenant turnover. Doing it in practice, hard. Again, bigger is not always better. I do believe, and I'm on record saying that for the first 15 years of my career investing, that bigger was better. It absolutely was. But as soon as Grant Cardone started talking about 10X and start going around and selling out baseball fields and Vegas conferences, everybody's chasing this. Everybody's a would-be syndicator. Wouldn't touch those today with any of my money. It's just too overpriced. If the economy turns and unemployment doubles, I believe apartment owners will suffer first, with effective occupancy dropping significantly as tenants live paycheck to paycheck. Then with apartment buildings, guess what happens is cap rates will expand, right? When cap rates get smaller, the value gets higher. When cap rates get bigger, the value drops. Not good. You'll start offering move-in specials, half off first month's rent. Your turnover is going to be what really kills you as a landlord, right? Turnover on an apartment building, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 850 square feet, somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000. Do a few of those, that won't be fun. When you're doing turns, something I've come to appreciate is you need to think about future turns. So I do laminate flooring now. It lasts longer, less carpet. Undermount sinks, less leaks. Granite countertops, they last longer than Formica. Tile in the bathroom, anywhere there's water. Semi-gloss, it's easier to clean. So phase 2 summary. You do not have to go to phase 2. Have I been clear? If you get 4 to 8 rentals, again, I think you win. Going to phase 2 is 100% optional for you. Bigger is not always better. Hopefully we've hit that a few times. Apartments are much, much harder to manage. More time and more headaches and more drama. Monthly expenses go up substantially, so please increase your reserves ahead of time. Market cycles can make the move a no-brainer. I would argue the market cycles in 07, 08 were a no-brainer. Houses were inflated by 50% and multifamily was underrepresented by 50%. So it was absolutely a no-brainer and the right thing for us to do. And I'm so happy we did it. Cash flow can absolutely increase substantially. Earlier, I showed that slide. I think it was 8,500 and 52,000. Let's just say our cash flow went up by probably 10x, right around 10x, where we had the houses before. So again, it can go up significantly. Again, houses can be overvalued. I've seen it. We've profited from it. And multifamily undervalued. Same deal. We did it. We profited from it. But the vice versa can also be true, which is today. Multifamily is overpriced and single families are underpriced, in my opinion. Just so we can talk about it, keys to phase 3, right? We talked about phase 1 last year, phase 2 now. Phase 3 begins when you're financially free, right? You've achieved financially freedom and now you have some choices. You need to review your portfolio, at least we did. What we did is we reviewed our debt structure. We laddered up some properties and paid off others. We did sell off a couple of our worst performers to raise cash, just so our reserves were even bigger. You have to decide what to do with all your time, right? My wife retired now 7 years ago. I retired 2 years ago. I struggled with this. I was a weekend away from going back to get a job because I was bored out of my mind. I hate to admit it, but it was true. You do not have to keep growing. This drives me crazy. All these people that supposedly have a lot already in social media. Oh, I want to do another 100 homes, 100 homes, 100 homes. When is enough enough? Or have you built such a system where you have to do 100 homes or the thing explodes? I don't know. If you're done growing, I say awesome. Just focus on being happy. If you can be happy every day, you win. That's what this is all about. If you want to keep growing, I suggest not risking what you've built. Take what you've built and you retired on, move it over, put it on the side. Never risk that pile. If you want to take a gamble on opening a restaurant or something else, do it in a way that other pile, that financial freedom pile, is not put at risk. Never do it. Again, remember the key is to be happy. If you retire at 45 like we did, and you can be happy for 55 years, assuming we live to be 100, we win. It's that simple. So what are we doing now? We're still growing and adding some buy and hold rentals. The only things we're adding today are via seller financing. We run into some sellers that want to sell us their portfolio, and we buy them. We set up terms that work for them and us. Like we did a 15-unit entire portfolio last year, and we hope to do one of those a year. We're not in a rush. We don't have to grow, but if we can work out a win-win situation with owner financing, we will take those all day long. We are absolutely selling overpriced multifamily. I'm not shy about telling folks on YouTube, my channel, One Rental at a Time, exactly what we're doing. We're selling overpriced multifamily that have ridiculously low cap rates because we'll just buy them back later. We've seen this movie before. And we're moving our equity into houses via 1031 exchanges. We have started to flip properties. I talked about this time problem I had earlier. I needed a way to keep busy. So we have started to flip properties, but we're doing it differently. We're not doing the owner-occupant flips that you see on HGTV and flip this house and all of that. That's not who we are. It's not where we want to play. It's too risky. It's too much work, frankly. What we are doing is we know what a landlord thinks about. So what we are doing is we are buying disgusting slumlord properties, and we are simply revitalizing them and bringing them back to the quality that we are proud of. We're spending 40 to 60 grand on a full gut remodel of our houses. And then we are leasing them to new tenants, and then we're selling them. We sold 18 in year 1 and 22 in year 2. And we've done a couple of this year already. So again, it keeps us busy. We have teams involved, so it's not like we're in Fresno all the time. But again, we've helped 40 people buy a pride of ownership rental, which we're really proud of. We do occasionally leverage private money. It was a key part of our success during the crash, if you read our book. There are times where we borrow private money and we actually invite our partners to be profit in our success, hence 6 and 20. We pay 6% interest only to our friends and family, and then we give them 20% of the profit. We're not doing a lot of these days. In fact, I think I only have one because we have an okay pile of cash our own. So, um, but you know, you never know when you come across a deal where you need private money. So we do have a list of friends ready to loan. So private money is a great thing. So I recommend figuring out how to leverage it in your portfolio. We do spend a lot of time teaching new investors the power of getting to phase one. I'm very adamant about getting to just 4 rentals changes your life. And if you could get to 8, man, life could be good. We're very conservative in our investing. We live below our means still to this day. I teach learning your market is the number one thing, right? What's a bad, average, good, and great deal? And I am focused on being happy. That's what I'm trying to do now. So how can you follow me? Well, I produce daily content. One of the things I do to keep busy is I'm a morning person and Olivia is not. So I spend a lot of time in the morning, several hours producing content, doing interviews with successful investors. So do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's simply called One Rental at a Time. That would be greatly appreciated. We do things like daily millionaire news, investor interviews, subscriber questions. It's a lot of fun. I do have an Instagram page. Go ahead and follow me there. It's One Rental at a Time. Daily posts there, usually a quote that somebody's producing, something I've said. And if you're not much of a YouTube follower because it's, you know, watching video, right, you're on the job site or whatnot, all my YouTube content that's longer than 5 minutes gets posted to a podcast every Saturday. We actually have almost 100,000 downloads, and it just started midpoint last year. So pretty proud of that. And of course, it's called One Rental at a Time. We do have a book. It's one of the first things we did after I retired is I wrote it. Again, very proud of it. Forbes indicated it was the number 3 out of 15 to read before you get started. Investing was a great, great honor, and very happy to have that. If you have read it, again, do me a favor and write that 5-star review. I don't ask for a lot, but if you can go back to Amazon right now and do that, I would greatly appreciate it. I do have an online course, and I'm going to give something away for people that watch this video and came to Jim's event. So stay tuned for that. It's called How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. It's all about learning your market, comparing deals, building your team. You know, how do you do it working a full-time job? It's basically everything we did over 15 years, and I'm very proud of it. And you can actually go to my YouTube channel and hear student interviews of other students who've taken it and just said some pretty special things about the course. And again, I have a gift for you in just a minute. And again, I have a couple of websites. One of the things I'm really proud of is I'm investing in Fresno. I bought an office building in Fresno, renovated it, and now I have staffed real estate agents, general contractor, 4 different wholesalers, and a top-notch flipper in there. And you can find it at thehubfresno.com. And of course, I have a website called onerentalatatime.com. Onerentalatatime.com is where you're going to find my course, everything we do, and really proud of what's there. So something else I'm doing is I'm trying to be unique. So you can see an actual picture of the office building I bought. It used to be a dentist office, if I understand correctly. Went ahead and put in fake grass, put in a lighted sign. We do call it the Hub. There are 7 offices in there, a lobby, a couple of seating areas, pretty cool. And then I'm doing some different things. Here's an example of some marketing I'm doing. We're doing direct mail because we want to help people. So again, if you want, you can read that. Again, it's trying to highlight that we're not just every wholesaler. We actually have a physical location. We're actually highlighting my book because, again, we want potential sellers to realize that we're a little bit different. So really proud of what the team is doing with the Hub. So here's the summary of 8 to 80. Financial freedom is absolutely possible, but it is a journey and it takes time. Not a get rich quick, but it is a get rich for sure business. I believe a better financial future is achieved by executing step 1. And if I've said it once, I've said it a dozen times. You do not have to exit step 1. If you get to 8 single family homes and you're done, I applaud you. tell me about it. I'll raise a beer to you. It should be celebrated. You do not have to go bigger if you do not want to. Again, bigger isn't always better, and I tell you this much, it is never easier. Market cycles are real, and the mania can cause asset prices to rise and inflate to uncomfortable levels. I have seen it once and had it documented. It's called the crash. I believe it is happening again right now in multifamily, but we will not know if I'm right for another couple of years. I have seen can't miss markets before, and they are dangerous. When everybody is running one direction, I am frightened. I am getting away as fast as possible. Value add multifamily is not where I'd want to start today. Not today. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a nice, solid, single-family home locked in with cheap 30-year money. Nothing wrong with it. You are not ready to buy your first investment, in my opinion, until you can answer this one question. What is bad, average, good, and great deal in your market and in your chosen asset type? That's what I teach. That's what I talk about. Everything else around it, it's all about answering that one question. So here's my special gift to you. Again, I have a course. It's called How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. You can find it on my website, obviously called One Rental at a Time. It is normally listed for $199. I think at $199, it's a ridiculously low price. I put it there on purpose. It should be less than 1 month's cash flow, but I wanted it to be big enough where you would be committed to doing it. If you buy my course and never take the classes, I failed. That's not what I want for you. I don't want the money that bad. I want you to take the course and do the work. And I'm not like a lot of teachers. Step 1 of my course, you are building spreadsheets and doing work. I'm not about mindset and all that other stuff. That comes later. I want you to start doing work and figuring it out for yourself. Again, you can find this at onerentalatatime.com. It's going to help you answer the one and only key question, and that is, what is a bad, average, good, and great deal? It's also going to allow you to understand how to compare houses with apartments. It's what I call yield. For this weekend, and this weekend only, I am creating a coupon code for this event. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you $25 off. And when you buy it, I will also autograph a book and mail it to you. So if you want to know our story and you're interested in this course, you can get the course for $174, and then I will mail you an autographed copy of our book so you can save again. The book's $15, for example. But if you buy it on Amazon, you don't get an autograph. And here's the coupon code. It's a shout out to Jim. It's simply Jim25. So if you're interested in this, go to your phone, go to your computer, go to onerentalatatime.com. Scroll down. There's a course called How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. Click that. I don't know, hit checkout or pay or whatever it is, and then it will ask for a coupon code. It's just Jim25. So again, the goal for One Rental at a Time, everything I'm doing, daily content, the book, the course, is I'm trying to create belief, focus, because too many people are distracted, and I want you to have informed execution. I want you to be buying good or great deals in your market and of your asset type. So that's what I have. That's a dry run. At this point in the presentation in Virginia, I'll be taking questions. I actually have no idea how long that was, so I guess I'll wait till the video is stopped. And again, you have access. If you want to take that coupon code, go for it. It will be available. Again, Jim25. And I'm going to make this available Saturday, so you can look at it Saturday and Sunday. So that was fun. I got some things to change, but it'll be pretty close to that. All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Thanks.